Okay, so I'm here with Shmuly Rothman, who came to me about just a year ago because he was a really incredible fundraising coach working with incredible people in the nonprofit industry. And it felt like he was getting clients, but he almost had to use the Hoover, right? And expand so much energy to bring people in consistently, and it was just it was tiresome. And so we had a conversation about creating a funnel that would really talk to the right people and with the right messaging, and try to craft that really perfect stream where people would come in consistently and create clients, happy coach, everyone together, and just really create a really phenomenal situation for him and his business. So, Shmuly, before we get into anything, if you don't mind, let's go back a little bit and start before we even had our conversation. And tell me, when we first started, what was your original intention coming to me? What was your goal? Where were you? What was your state of mind in terms of having this conversation?
Well, first of all, Ali, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And thanks for everything you've taught me and continue to teach me. When I first reached out to you, I had been hearing from you for over a year. And I kept saying, nah, it's not for me. Nah, it's not for me. And that nah voice kept getting louder. So one day I finally said, why? Why am I doing that? Ellie looks happy. It looks like he's having fun. I like having fun. And so it gave me the room to say, why don't we have a conversation? And you were very humble about welcoming me in, knowing that I'd been in the background for over a year. Where was I? At the time, I'm almost embarrassed to say it now. I was looking for a quick fix. I was looking for, you see these advertisements for, just build your funnel and they're going to come. And then there's evergreen income and just build your funnel and they're going to come. And I was looking for somebody else to build a funnel for me and do all the work for me while I just continue where I'm at. And that wasn't what I needed.
Okay, so let's, before we go into that and discuss what you feel you needed, when you came on board and you asked for this quick fix funnel, obviously you felt that I was a good fit for that. I was able to help you get that quick fix funnel. What were you thinking then, and what went through your mind, and what did I tell you?
You had a lot of confidence. You had done it for yourself. You've done it for others. To me, that's a big deal. I like talking to people who have demonstrated they've done it for themselves and others. I don't like people who say, let me try and make this work on you the first time. Let that be for somebody else. But also, I had seen you in your journey of entering the coaching world and then where you started, where you moved to. I was really excited to be watching where you were going and kind of the shift when you, from, working with individual clients, becoming a coach's coach. That was really exciting to me. And that talked to me a lot. So I knew that you were being guided by good people. You were applying a lot of the LE genius to what you were learning. And I had a good feeling that you knew my clientele, you knew me, and you'd be able to help me get over my humps, my slowdowns, and get the right products in front of the right people. Is that what you recall?
Something like that. I will say, actually, I took a lot of, I was quite impressed that you were even willing to go through with it with me. Thinking the fact that we're friends, and we've been friends for a long time, going back years, and just everyone should realize that we've been friends. And sometimes working with a friend has a lot of drawbacks, a lot of uncomfortability. I don't want them to know me too well. I don't want them to really see the uncomfortable things. We have this perfect vision of a perfect friendship, and we should, God forbid, mess that up. And because Ellie will see me in the full way, or Shmuly will see what Ellie can and can't really do. And I think it was, to me, it felt incredible that you were willing to have that trust and just say, hey, let's give it a shot. And it's like, wow, this is interesting. Let's see where this goes, and give it our best.
One of the turning points for me was actually an image you posted on, must have been LinkedIn. That's the only platform I play on. where it was a picture of, you had the vacuum on before, it was a guy in the corner with a vacuum cleaner, and then there was a guy in the center, almost like magnets, and money was being attracted. So it wasn't about the money, but the difference between the guy running after it and the guy attracting it. And if I could be a little vulnerable here for a second, there were times when I felt you were running after me. But a year ago, when we re-engaged, I felt attracted to your model, and that was a big, big game changer for me.
Wow. Wow.
That's a compliment to you.
Thank you. Thank you. What do you feel? What changed when you felt there was a chase and then the chase stopped and it turned into a different angle? What do you, if you could pinpoint what happened there?
In me or you?
In me, in like what were you feeling? You're obviously feeling a different energy.
I was feeling that you didn't need me, that you had something that you knew I could benefit from, but you didn't need me. You didn't need my income. You didn't need you did not need me to be a client. You I don't like using the word, but I'll say it anyway. You got me. You understood where I was at, and you had been there, and you had, in your own personal growth, self-development, professional development, shifted your game to a very attractive, a place where you were, others are being attracted to you versus, hey, let me go see who I can sell to today, you know, in that awful salesy terminology. And I wasn't feeling any of that. I was feeling just a lot of care, a lot of healthy boundaries, where I'm going to go, where I'm not going to go. And especially, you mentioned before, the risk of working with friends. Like you don't do surgery on family. I didn't feel like you were working on me. I felt you were showing me a light and guiding me towards something that would be life-changing.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's incredible. It's like this is the insights I didn't even know that.
Not everybody is strong enough to ask, what do you think changed about me? So I appreciate the question.
You're welcome. So let's go back a little bit to when you first started, before we even started working together. What do you feel that you were really good at already, that was going well for you and your system and your structure of your coaching? That you felt like you were good at this, but you felt you needed improvement with something in particular. What were those things?
Thanks for asking. I like people. I've been blessed to understand, catch on quickly. My particular path of coaching training, leader as coach with Tom Heck and others, I believe got me from the best foundations in coaching of truly understanding people in a really healthy, wholesome way. And whenever when a client ever knocked on my door, they were very happy. They were very happy. They were very satisfied. My boundaries are strong where I'm a coach. I'm not a therapist, so we go forward. We don't go backwards. If there's something I can't handle, I outsource it. So I felt that I was in a good place as far as once somebody comes in and says, hey, knock, Shmuly, can you help me get there? If the answer is yes, that was a great ride. It was a great ride. I had my, certain clients, certain days, certain questions, slowdowns that would, give me the self-doubt questions. But that was far, few and far in between.
In terms of working with your people, like in terms of acquiring new clients, what was working for you? Was there anything like, how did you find clients? How was it happening?
I hated it. I never liked it. I didn't do it. I did not have an active game plan of how to reach out to clients. I started doing master classes, and some of the clients that came to master classes turned into clients, but I had zero confidence in, not so much zero confidence. I had the wrong belief system. I had the wrong words in my head. The idea that this fellow needs the gift I've been given, and so showing up and giving it to him was a foreign concept. It was, hey, I need to pay the bills, and who's the next guy that's going to come and hire me for my services so that I can pay the bills? And like I said at the beginning of the conversation, I'm embarrassed to think of where I was. It's not a horrible place. It's an honest place, but nowhere near the advanced place you've taken me to. Healthy thought process, Who is the client? What do they need? I've been given something, I can help them out. Let's let them know. Oh, there's an exchange of funds for that? That's true. You walk into Walmart. You're not walking out with your pound of tomatoes if you don't pay the cashier. So that was a big, I had no active plan for attracting clients.
How's that making you feel?
Say it again?
How is that making you feel?
You have to bring it up. It did two things. It made me trust in God, but not in a good way.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I believe all my blessings come from Hashem, no question.
Hashem meaning God.
Hashem meaning God. But when it was, I have no plan, I have no idea where it's going to come from, I have no idea how it's going to, but God save my backside and send me rent for this month, I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel like I was talking to my Father in heaven who wants to see me thrive.
It's almost like, it sounds like it was like the story of the father-in-law with the new son-in-law, right? They kept asking him what he's doing for a living. He said, "Oh, God will provide," right? And then the mother-in-law, was like, "What's going on?" He said, "Oh, he thinks I'm God," right? So so it was like a magical. It was going to appear on a chest somewhere.
And there always was God provided, but I didn't feel. I knew it wasn't where I needed to be, and I had a strong aversion to going to where those who were doing it with a smile, partying their way through every step of the process, the attracting, the conversations, the closing the deals, the coaching part. There are people who are doing it and having a ball. And I wanted to be one of them. And that's how I found you, Ali.
Wow. So we could say you had like a healthy jealousy.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. Jealous of good things.
Exactly. That's actually, you threw me for a loop there for a second, because jealousy to me automatically brings up a negative, but you're absolutely right. It was a jealousy to go to and get to a better place in order to be more selfless. Taking care of my family, myself, my clients, that's not selfish, that's selfless. So a jealousy to, hey, I'm going to show up stronger to do a better job. I want to know the secrets.
There's a good catch there. Because I just saw this come up just recently. Someone asked me about jealousy and how is jealousy a good thing or bad thing. It just is. It's a human trait. And if we're jealous of someone's positive traits and things that are doing well, by all means, it draws us to want to do more of that. And if it's drawing us in a negative way, then that's, again, everything can go both ways. And that's really, I love how you just flipped that.
I recently saw a line that said, "Thank God it's a positive commandment to be humble. Because what would we look like if the commandment was to be haughty?"
Which goes another story, but we'll save it for next time. So let's dig into this a little bit. You mentioned Tom Heck, one of your coaches that helped you in the past, and numerous other coaches I know you've worked with. Of all the people that you've had out there, and even in this field, there's numerous people that you could have gone to. In my field, that my competitors are doing really well and have big names. Why me?
That's a great question. First of all, I have to say that Tom Heck got me started. Actually, David Grossman got me started. He sent me to Tom Heck. And then eventually it was actually Joe Applebaum who really dislodged me from a really comfortable discomfort. And he muscled me up to be ready for you. And I still pull back and I quote Tom, Joe, well, why you at the time, you were willing to do something that, first of all, I'll say it simply. You were unhurried. You were not swamped. You were not running numerous large operations at the same time. You were very focused. You took the time to help me see what I needed to see. And at times when I wasn't ready to do the work myself, you didn't say, "Hey, let me do that piece for you," but you were very instrumental in guiding me to a third party who could help me with it. My brain freezes up a lot on I understand what has to get done, but if something I can't do or don't feel good about doing, I just didn't do it. Why? Because I don't like doing it. So, but you were very good at guiding me to, Shmuly, let me introduce you to that vendor who'll do that for you. That was one piece. Also, in the early stages, you took the time to help me understand up here why things work the way they work. There were times when I was sitting there listening, thinking, what on earth is Ellie talking about? And why is he taking so much time to talk about this? I thought we're making money today. I signed up to make money. What's going on? And it was always a matter of time, hours, days, sometimes weeks or months, until I was able to say, oh, okay, that's what he was talking about. You gave me the foundation to understand it intellectually and emotionally, because you put me through a paradigm shift. You helped me look at the world differently, at myself differently, at my clients differently, at sales differently. And you can't do that just based on, hey, Shmuly, do A, B, C, D. You didn't teach me the dance steps. You taught me how to dance, which is a game changer. And it's essentially going back to my earliest coach, Tom Heck. He was like that from the get-go. It was brutal. but he did such a good job of not stepping in and saying, let me feed you the answer. It was always, I'm going to ask the question that's going to get you to think, that's going to help you understand this so that you feel you're strong enough to do it. So I live in a lab. I'm constantly talking to people. Anytime an idea popped up that you shared, I was like, I'm going to try that out. I'll come back for a tweak. But I had the knowledge, and I think we can look back over the past 12 months, there were times that you got random messages from me saying, Ellie, I just understood what you told me in our third meeting. Like, it just clicked today in this scenario. You're like, oh, good, I'm sure. I'm glad you took the time to unpack that. I found that to be very unique.
Can you share with us like one or two of the aha moments that you felt that you didn't realize before, but then saw in a different way, and like how it was impactful for you?
I could. One of them was, it drove me nuts when he used to say it. He said, Shmuly, all you got to do is shine your light and watch. Clients are going to come. Because light by nature attracts. All you got to do is shine. I'm thinking, what are you talking about? I got to get out there. I got to hustle. I got to get in front of people. I got to tell them why they need my help. I have to tell them why I'm the right solution for them. What are you talking about with the shining your light business? But the aha moment came when first of all, people started to come. And I realized what happened, all the conversations we had and have a very forward-thinking, positive tone to them. So I like being a positive thinker. And as we talked, I found myself shifting into positive thought processes. And as that happened, the light started shining. And as it happened, people started coming. And people even said to me, Shmuly, I'm not sure what's different, but it's different and I like it. I was like, that's what Ellie's talking about. So that was one. Another one was, give me a second. Oh. People are not broken, and I'm not going to fix them. In other words, when somebody reaches out to me today, it's not because of me. It's because God put it in their head to reach out to me. When they reach out to me, my job is to stay in the zone and figure, what have I been given? What knowledge or experience do I have? To be present with them, understand them, and understand that this is a match made in heaven, and turn off those awful voices of, can I really do this job? Those are horrible voices. The self-doubt, can I really do this job? And instead say, something brought them to me. Not because me, but because he put me here. And tap into my journey and experience to relate to that client and be present with them. And when they say, Shmuly, let's do this, just be able to say, yeah, sure. Because it's a match made in heaven.
That's big stuff.
So pause for a second. I'm going to flip the script. What's it like for you as a coach hearing feedback like this?
Like, me? He got that from me? What is he talking about? But okay, so fine. That's pretty much what it's like.
I would say if anybody's listening and learning from this, just because you're going to appreciate the taste of a custard donut more by working with Ellie doesn't mean you have to go out, buy one, and eat one. You're going to appreciate the taste without sinking your teeth into it.
Let me ask you a totally different direction for a minute. You're running a business, and you like to help people, and that's the way every foundation of every business is. But ultimately, if you don't get income to pay your bills, you're not going to be able to do that for people. What shifted for you in that way, and how are you able to where do you take your business even on a everyday just your prices change, the things adjust, and things. What happened there? Tell me a little bit, if you don't mind speaking a little bit about that. What happened in that respect?
Sure, good question. To some degree, there was a voice in the back of my head that said, "Money's dirty, and I don't deserve this money." I looked at it very different. You go into Home Depot, you buy a 2x4, you're going to pay whatever it costs. But if I'm a nice guy and I want to help people, I should charge you for my time. And interestingly, there are certain experiences I've had with health and healing that I will forever make it a priority to talk to somebody. I would never charge a dime for it. It's just part of God sent me down that road, and I could help out. But I stopped looking at the process and I started looking at the results, and that's a clear LE teaching. So, for example, in the non-for-profit fundraising arena, gentleman, young man, older man, great ideas, wants to save the world, and opens up a non-for-profit, has no idea about fundraising, and he's either going to go into debt or fold or learn the hard way or hire a coach. So I started seeing it as I'm not charging him money. I'm helping him get to financial security for his organization. And the fee that he's paying, when we first started, I was upping the hourly rate. And then it became increasingly clear to me that that's not an hourly thing. This is an investment for what they're going to get on the other end. Your example of the dentist or the orthodontist, that really spoke to me. If I can get rid of that painful tooth or that infected tooth in 4 minutes, I should charge you quadruple the price. Unless if you want to sit in the chair for longer, because hey, stick around, I have no problem. But when I meet a client they're passionate about the non-for-profit, and if they don't learn the ropes of how to fundraise, how to understand money, how to understand the donor, how to communicate with the donor, how to get rid of the old school thoughts in their head that slow them down and give them fears and ultimately stop them from providing this salvation to the world through the non-for-profit. If they don't have that, they're not going to last too long. So the fact that I can help them get to a place that will create goodness on a daily basis and takes a little investment in the big picture, that was a very, very big difference. And when I started, I had a hard time talking about it at first. But the more confidence the more you helped me understand it up here, the more confidence I had in sharing it. And it was exactly as you said it. It was your words to me were, Shmuly, you stick to this script and then you say, yeah, when can we start? Because it's not about the money. It's remember, nobody cares how the custard donut is made. They care about the taste of that custard exploding inside your mouth. And for some people, it's a cheesecake. Some people, it's cookish cake. Some people, it's a chocolate donut. It doesn't make a difference. People want the results. So when talking to a client about having 6 months in the bank, about picking up donors in the tens to 50s to hundreds of thousands of dollars annually, to growing their budget from 1.5 to 2.5, because in that pool of donors, there is more money right now. You just have to learn how to get there. It became, of course I want that. And, you're the right guy. Then, yeah, just tell me what it takes. It's not a matter of how much it costs. It's just how fast can you get it? Can you get me there? When I started seeing it that way, that was another level of shining the light. I started attracting the donors who wanted that, as opposed to going to people, can you do me a favor and be my client? It started becoming, can you do me a favor and make room for me? Because I'm watching what you're doing for others. I'm hearing what you're doing, and I need that for my organization. Can you fit me in? That was a tremendous shift.
How does it feel for you to just step back for a second and think and feel almost? I was always looking to bring it in, and now I can sit here and they're looking to get in. Tell me more how that feels.
I think it's a combination of very humbling, but also very demanding. Because one of the things you and I talked a lot about is when you go from Little League to AAA to big leagues. And in big leagues, you got to play big league ball to stay relevant. And Barry Bonds, let's go back to Pittsburgh in the 80s, Barry Bonds didn't see a baseball. He saw a home run. To him, it was sweet. If I was standing at the plate, I wouldn't even notice the ball whizzed by.
I didn't know you were a baseball fan.
I'm not. I heard you talk about it enough times.
No, you gave me that first pirate radio. You remember that? Okay.
I can quote you from the 80s. Don't ask me anything about the last 10 years.
You give away how old we are. Don't talk over there.
Right. The beard has nothing to do with it.
Interrupt you. You're talking about the
watching somebody allow themselves to clear up their head, unplug old voices, old language, plug in the healthy and the new. Go out there and use it like they're Barry Bonds at the plate, like they're sitting with their chum around the bonfire with a beer. Just relax, being comfortable in their own skin with this process that makes sense to them. That's big league. Helping somebody get to a place where it's safe for them to be themselves. Because when I feel safe being me, there's nothing I can't do. When I don't feel safe, there's very little I'm going to do. In my particular area, but it's not limited to fundraising, it's any service. Helping somebody feel safe being themselves, that's a gift of life, and that's big league. So it's demanding because, I never thought I could do this kind of stuff, and how am I going to respond to the donor if he says yes? Which is an ironic question. Like, the fear of the success is also semi-petrifying. And now I need to run around the bases? I can't just stand here and marvel at the fact that I hit the ball? But yeah, I got to do that, and I got to do it with confidence. If the crowd is cheering, I'm going to do a little dance on the way. I'm going to celebrate with them. As opposed to, I can't believe it happened. That's big league. And as you help somebody get to that zone, it's demanding to help keep them there, but also, how can I help the next guy go there? Because it's not just for him. If there's something that I've been blessed with that works, you got to replicate it. You got to do it for another. Yeah, I can't go chase them and say, I know what you need. But the more the light shines, the more they're going to come. And it could seem daunting. So, how am I going to help him? But no, take it easy. What did I do? I just, so to speak, beed me, which is not a proper sentence, but an interesting sense of being in a safe way. Pass that on to that fellow and celebrate as he goes and does great things much bigger than he and I put together. Does that answer your question? Yeah,
but it leaves me with a lot more curious questions here. One of the things that you share with me a lot, it just lights me up every time I see it. You always tell me, Ellie, it happened just the way you said. And it's, again, for this and for that and for that and for that and that. I'm like, okay, wow, okay. And I'm curious, what have you heard from your clients? Like, in terms of their results, what have they felt differently from you? What are some of the words they say about you that's different than before?
So that's a great question. I find them saying, Shmuly, was exactly the way you said it would happen. And when I hear that, I chuckle because, like, I followed Ellie's script, they followed Shmuly's script, the next guy's going to follow their script. Because when you're onto something that works, don't fix it. Don't fix it. Don't fix what's not broken. And I think that ties right in with it. When I'm talking to a person, looking at them as a wholesome part that needs something that can grow, that's much different. Like, one of the things that I quote you often on is I'm going to give you a mind-expanding exercise. I'm like, oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. I said, we're going to expand your heart here for a minute. Oh, that sounds fun. Bring it. Yeah, that's good. Let's go there. As opposed to, let me tell you where you're thinking wrong. Let me tell you what you need to stop doing. Let me tell you what you need to start. Just this morning, I had a meeting on my drive home. And I had that struggle in my head. What he's telling me a serious challenge that he has, that if he doesn't address it, he's not going to be able to go where he wants to go, even though that challenge has nothing to do with he and I are talking about. So I went back into what Ellie taught me. Shmuly, if he's talking to you, there's a reason. Don't tell him something, tell him a story. So I said, can I share perspective? He said, yes. I told him a story. And his words were, wow, thank you for sharing that particular story, because that helps me understand where you want to help me get. I didn't say I want to help you get anywhere. And then he told me on his own, Shmuly, as my next action step when we hang up is to do this. And I said, at the risk of going where I don't belong, I'm going to say I'm really proud of you. Because he followed it. I wasn't his solution for that issue. But I was able to bring him something that then led him to, I'm going to take this action, which I have not done in a long time, which I know I need to do, and now I'm going to take it, and I know it's going to be the right thing. Did I answer the question?
Gives me the chills. At the risk of saying me too, but I'll say it anyway.
Which you just did. That's like the upgraded way of saying no offense, but.
Right. I wrote an article about you just recently. Obviously, I didn't say your name, but there's a point of how when we first started working together, I loved your market. What you're doing is phenomenal. And I loved helping the people that you are helping directly. And I thought, oh yeah, I would love to help them and do for them and so on and so forth. But I thought, you're doing it for that. And then I had this little hunch in the back of my head, that this little voice that told me something that, and I'll tell you in a second what it was. So I stayed back with it. I thought, if I could help him and he could be effective with them, then I'm almost like a grandpa. Like, I could be able to simply, like, and for a grandfather has a certain pride that even a father doesn't get. Like, it's even more exciting. It's, you don't have to actually be the one that does that little work, but you get to actually reap the rewards of it because it's just coming from you. And honestly, whenever I see you have that success and help them really have some tremendous impact, I go, this is awesome. So thanks for the what's it called, Nachas report, the Pride report.
There's another little benefit to being a grandpa. You can hand the kid back when they have a dirty day.
Yes, of course. But don't talk about that part. So, huge impact. On a very practical level, can we say, I'm going to nail it down in numbers for a second, your lowest package, the one, if someone called you and you needed to work and they couldn't afford it and so on and so forth, how low would you go to make it work for someone? Like, how did you work? Was it hourly? What were you charging? What was happening for you? What changed?
Now or then?
Then.
Then? So, somebody who wasn't able to afford, somebody who didn't know the value of the one-on-one, I would recommend them to my online course, which when I taught it live, it worked wonders, and people continue to come and pick it up as a recorded course. So somebody who If they didn't see the value and weren't ready to pay for coaching, I would do one of two things. I would recommend the course and come up with a payment plan that works for them, or I would encourage them to join conversations with friends that are a little bit more advanced to learn from people that are ahead of them in the game. And I learned the hard way that when somebody's not ready to pay, they're not committed, and you're not doing them a favor by giving them a freebie. And then that's a law of life.
And
I say that very carefully, because if the goal is to help them to get to a better place and they're not willing to pay, they're not ready to go to a better place. And that's not me. That's them.
And so prices obviously have shifted significantly for you. Like, obviously your prices have gone up significantly. Are you still doing hourly? Are you still selling hourly? I mean, obviously maybe you use hours as a frame of how long you talk, but do you sell hours?
I work on a monthly retainer. I do have packages if somebody's going to prepay 3 months, but I work on a monthly retainer for the typical setup is 45 minutes a week with support in between meetings. That's one of the unique things that my particular clientele like. They can reach out to me, voice messages, texts, emails.
That's so valuable.
In between. Yeah, sometimes it gets taxing, but I work hard to keep up with it. It's also seasonal. I find people like knowing that it's there. They probably more appreciate knowing that it's there than actually using it. But when they do need it, and I'm able to fit it in, it adds a tremendous amount of in the moment coaching guidance. Even though I have 5 more days till my next meeting, that type of thing.
It's so interesting at that point, at the thing that we just made about people knowing that it's there is really a comfort. I think a lot of people, and I've many clients have had similar concerns about offering something like an extra or bonus that can make such a difference. Yes, there's always going to be that one person or 2 people that really push the envelope on that thing, but by and large, almost like an insurance on some level, most people don't use it. And so you can really, when you're able to find a healthy balance, you can offer something that doesn't mean, you have to assume that every person is going to bother you all hours of the night and day. There's always going to be that one person that going through a tough time, a hard day, a hard moment, and you feel like, oh my God, wow, that's just...
Yeah, absolutely. It taught me that I had to be better at respecting my family time. So, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but somebody asks you a question and you're in a meeting and your phone is off, and you turn on your phone 5 hours later and there's like a gazillion question marks. Like, where have you been all these hours? I needed you. So I get used to those. But it taught me also, my work day is over 5:15, phone goes down. And I'm not picking it up till after my younger ones are in bed. And at that point, at 8:15, 8:30, if it's work time, I might do something. If it's not, I'm not going to. At the same time, I will tell people, if it's urgent, write the word urgent or timely under it. So when I have to prioritize quickly at what I have to get back at, I'll pay a little more attention to that. And then I always find it interesting when people will say to me, am I overdoing this? Am I using this too much? So I'll say, give me a chance to tell you. Go ahead. If you send me my big golden rule, send me a voicemail that's more than a minute long, it's the last thing I'm going to get to. If it's a 5-minute message, send me 5 1-minute messages. I see more than a minute, my brain goes, I'm out. I check out. That's, I think, one of the nice things about LinkedIn voice messaging. It cuts you off 59 seconds.
Yeah, but WhatsApp, you can send 37 minutes.
Right, and I think
I discovered the hard way.
What's that other one? There's another communications thing where you could talk for hours, but I'm not going there.
Voxer, I mean.
Yeah.
Wow. It's. How do you know? Are there times that you could tell that the client needs you to get to it quickly? Is there a way, even if they're not urgent, do you have a feel for? This is something that needs something taken care of. How do you follow your intuition? Do you wait for them to say it? How do you deal with sometimes when there's an urgency needed and someone help, they're having a hard day, it's going rough. What happens? Walk me through that.
So I encourage them when I tell them that I test the waters. Are they going to use it occasionally? Are they going to overuse it all the time? Um, if it's somebody who's a heavy user and they start building this expectation, I just texted and I didn't get a response, what's wrong? I'll say to them when I'm in a meeting, you know my schedule is posted online. During the hours that are blocked and I'm in meetings, my phone's gone. It doesn't exist because my whole focus is on you. So I'm talking to you and I'm texting somebody else, I'm losing you as a client, rightfully so. So it doesn't exist, so you know that. If you send me a message and it's timely, just write the word timely. Or can you respond by this and this time? And I'll either say yes or no. So if somebody, typically I don't touch my phone until, I don't know, on an average day till 10:30 in the morning. So if you wake up at 6 and you're out running, all this like, I got all these great questions for Shmuly and I need them for 7:30 this morning, you're gonna learn that's not the time you're gonna get to it. Sometimes I struggle when it's a last minute self-made urgency because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Something in my brain says, really, again? But then I take a deep breath and I say, is there something I know I can do to help them out right now? Let's go for it. And also, it's seasonal. So, but when I do get a message, I see a voice message and a couple of question marks after it, and I don't have time to respond, I will type in one word, urgent question mark. 99% of the time, it's, no, not really. And I've learned that in today's day and age, with lack of necessity to wait for anything. I don't know, do you use Instacart? When was the last time you went to the supermarket? Right? Some people have to wait online at Walmart. Others get it delivered to their house. In the instant everything mode. So my question that I'm going to reach out to you at 11:24 on Thursday morning with a gazillion question marks, it's not relevant today. It's something I need to know for 2 weeks from now. So I've learned to ask that question. If they say, no, not really, I say, great, I'll get to it, when I can. That's how I've kind of, it's also taught me that when I reach out to my mentors, and I have a question that's not urgent, I will, before I leave the message, I say, timely, not urgent. So they should know. When Shmuly communicates with me, I'm going to know the nature of this. But let me ask you, do you ask the question because it's something you find other coaches struggle with?
Yeah, trying to find that balance of boundaries. Being able to know, you want to give, you want to help, and then sometimes you think you know a good solution, and sometimes you need to step back and let them, we just see recently a video of teaching little babies how to swim by letting them float in the water on their backs, and then they figure it out. Sometimes knowing that we're there is great, but sometimes not jumping and trying to save them also gives them a space of knowing when they need to be saved, they need extra help, and knowing when to step back and let it be because it will work itself out.
So along those lines, something that I can't quite point to when it started, but it's definitely more recent. When somebody asks me a question that I know they know the answer to, and they're asking me anyway, I will say, what do you think? What do you recommend? How would you word it? And it brings out Shmuly, I was hoping you'd do that for me. It brings out that unspoken frustration. Recently, one of my clients, I'm very proud of, stepped into a leadership role on somebody else's fundraising course, particularly in the area of crafting well-written messages. And I said to him, do you remember the first time I said to you, what do you recommend? He said, yeah. I said, how do you feel? I said, I was so upset. I was so upset. I hired you as the coach. Why are you asking me the question? I said, and today, wow. I said, there's no way I'd have this skill down the way I do if you would have said, sure, I'll do that for you. So I think that kind of fits in with the questions that come at all hours. Most of the time, all they want is the reassurance. You know how to do that. You've got that. You have that experience. You have that muscle. Remember it. Go ahead and use it again. And then also, it slows down the flow of questions at all hours with its own.
Wow. So basically, you're creating a space where they know you're not going to let them drown, but you will allow them to bobble a little bit until they figure it out. And so it's a certain sense of they feel safe going out there and trying, knowing that worst case scenario, Shmuly's still there to back him up.
Right, and it's also, I know the seasons of my clients very well, and I know where the high stress seasons are. I'm not running the organizations they're running, I'm guiding them. So I'll let them know a week before, like the busiest 2 or 3 weeks of the year, I'll tell them, I've got your back. I'm on call. Something comes up, I don't have too many meetings this week because most of my clients are out there scrambling, but I'm here but we keep that balance in place. As soon as life normals out again, we're back to you doing the heavy lifting. As opposed to, one of the lines I share often is, I'm the coach, not the crutch. You don't want me to become your crutch, I don't want to become your crutch. So if you don't like something, tell me about it, but it's in order for you to know how strong you are.
It's a great line.
I probably got it from some great coach.
Yeah, no. You got to straight out of you. So tell me, I have to ask you this question about, we're like an hour into this almost, and I'm asking you, who do you help? Who's your market? Like, who do you primarily service?
There's who do I and who would I like to. So let's go with who do I. My 99% of my clients are directors of Chabad houses around, mostly English-speaking countries, most of the United States, but some countries abroad, English-speaking countries. It's just my first language, and so we communicate best.
And what Chabad house do you mean by?
Chabad houses are Jewish organizations, not-for-profits, which are out there bringing the light of Judaism to Jewish people all around the world. One, probably, in my not-so-humble opinion, the most noble cause out there, to help a brother know that they have a home and that they're welcome. It takes a tremendous amount of money to run each individually funded location, and the very ambitious directors go out with a buck and a dream, and they've got to find a way to make it work. So I'm passionate about the cause. I'm passionate about the people, and watching it work is nothing shy of godly.
What do they come to you for primarily? Like, what are things that they show up to you for, and what do you feel you help them with most?
So it's usually it's two different things. One is I'm in trouble. I need cash. I need it fast. And I never thought I want to be coached, but I have no choice. That's always more challenging. At least in my head, it's more challenging. The other one is younger rabbis who are starting to learn that there's a way to do it from the get-go, to do it right and have all the fun in the world doing it, and they're shedding their fundraising fears, which is a human fear, natural fear that most people have. They're shedding them, finding the beauty in it, and rocking it out of the ballpark, even at the earliest stages of establishing the non-for-profit. So for them to know that they can enter the non-for-profit arena without ever having a financial worry, because just as they help their wife, just as they teach the Torah, just as they're bringing gift packages to homeless people, all the stuff that they might do so naturally, generating the source of funding becomes eating that donut, becomes standing at Barry Bonds at the plate, smacking the cover off that ball. Entering into their career, so to speak, with that knowledge is a game changer, and they're loving it.
Wow, truly meaningful for you. That's a tremendous.
When they share back the things that work, it's the highlight. It's absolutely the best.
What would be the perfect client, like in terms of coming in? Like, people have so often asked me, what's coaching? They're interested in coaching. So I found for myself a little if I'm referring someone to you, there's some different things I look for and what they say and how they talk. What have you found? Like, if someone says home today and they're thinking, yeah, I would love this coaching. Like, when are they a good fit for coaching? When would you consider having a conversation with them? And when we say thank you, I appreciate the accolades, but we're not a good fit right now.
So I always welcome a conversation with anybody. I do. It's a policy I've had from day one. I welcome an exploration conversation. No obligation, no fee. I like meeting people. I'm going to learn something in that conversation about life. I may teach something and add value. So I always welcome that with no thought of, oh, I hope I can hook them and bring on a new client. That's something you've helped me completely get rid of and just enjoy the experience. If I had to describe the ideal client, it would be somebody who has already experienced self-development, understands and appreciates the benefits, the tremendous benefits of investing in their own self and their own ability to do better. And somebody who's hungry to succeed, somebody who knows that, somebody who's seeing the success that others have, frustrated that he's not having it on his own, but is super hungry to get there, so they want to learn. That's a sweet spot to be.
Yes, it sounds like you defined this in some level already before. Like, coaching is not about fixing them, right? People are afraid they're going to go in and they're going to be told, fix this, change this, become a different person. In truth, it's really about, they know, everyone knows it already on some level. They know it, but just with like a little bit of support and a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of reminders, and just a little bit of like, yeah, I do know it, right? Like, it's a little, that extra oomph that takes a lot of love to do that, because it's much more exciting to just fix.
Yes, and I'll take you back to a gentleman by the name of Ellie, who taught that to me. Who taught me that when somebody does reach out, encourage them, compliment them, genuinely. Show them their strengths. Because if they're coming and thinking, I'm talking to Shmuly because I'm broken, they need to be, they're the first ones to need to see that they're not broken. And that comes from recognizing that they were put here for a reason, they're put here with a mission. God doesn't invest in broken things, He invests in success stories. So maybe right now my lenses are a little bit off and I've got to see my own success. Which with that alone, if I talk to somebody once and never again, but in the conversation I'm able to compliment them on something that they're not seeing, that's life-giving.
Just switching gears for another second. You mentioned Barry Bonds and hitting home runs, and it's really awesome. And he was, I think, the home run king in Pittsburgh for so many years. One of the things when you hit a home run, and I think the hardest thing about running around the bases, is that no one even notices usually the player running around the bases at that point. Like, once you hit the home run, the crowd is excited. They're thinking about the home run. They're clapping hands, looking at themselves. Suddenly, you running around the bases means nothing. They could care less. They just, they wait for you to get home. When you're having so much success as a coach, I think one of the biggest challenges is that people see you even less. Meaning, there's suddenly, obviously you put yourself aside and been humble to help them get through their journey and so on and so forth. But a result of that in some level is that now you're not seen. It's not like, oh, Shmuly, you're like a hero. No, it's like you said, it's all about their benefits, it's about their results, it's about their things. How do you balance it for yourself? Because ultimately, you want to find your passion. This is something you enjoy. But at the same time, there's very little of you that they notice. It's more about their results and their happiness. How do you find satisfaction in it? How do you make it work for you?
You want the 1 minute answer, or you want the 30-minute lecture? The rabbi sermon. So I'll answer with a brief introduction. That one of the biggest gifts I have been given in my life was a 4-year time period where I was the in-house rabbi in a recovery facility. And that's where I was introduced to truth, to brutal honesty, and gratitude. So my answer is gratitude. I build into my day gratitude exercises every single day where I stop and I focus on what I'm grateful for. And there was a time when life was about me and what could the world do to serve me. I didn't look good. I didn't feel good. But I was hooked on it. I might even say I was addicted. And thank God I've been thrown through the washing machine a couple of times. humbled by different life experiences, guided by good people who care enough to tell me, you stink, in that sense. And that's led me to a very blessed place of looking for and recognizing my blessings every day. And when I look at the blessings of being able to play a role in helping somebody else succeed, that never gets old, it never gets stale, and it's the most humbling experience ever. And I go there often.
It seems like a good place to conclude, but I can't help resisting pushing. Maybe we'll end off with 2 more questions. We'll
shift it out for an end.
What advice would you give to others that are starting out, that are on the fence, that are thinking, okay, I want this, I'm thinking about this, I've been watching, and like you said, you're watching for months and thinking, and maybe, what can you tell them now that you're on the other side of the coin?
I would ask them, do you want to be the guy that's going to put your car up on 2 hoists and do your own oil change and save some money? Or do you want to be the guy that's going to drop off your car by the professional, do something productive while he's doing his job, and then you get into your finished car without getting your hands dirty? By nature, my life has been such that I've never had to knock the door down. I've always been, my path has always been walking into setups that are already set up, and now I need to show up and do something with it. I don't like making mistakes. I got into coaching through a path of making horrible mistakes. It was the morning after my most painful mistake as a camp director that led me to start the search for coaching. And my simple belief is that if somebody out there already made the mistake and has learned from it, I should go learn the best practice from them. Now, that flies in the face of my very healthy ego. It flies in the face of my very healthy and expanding mindset of, I'm Shmuly. Of course I know. It flies in the face of that. But like I said, I had some humbling experiences. And that taught me that if I really want to be successful, I must always be surrounded by people who are doing what I want to do and are doing it better, so that I can learn from them and get to being able to be productive as in the best way possible, in the fastest way possible. And I tell this to my clients all the time. I say, you're an outlier. Most of the guys your age do not and will not have a coach. And they're suffering. They're hurting badly. And in recovery language, it'd be simplified and say it's an ego thing. Maybe that's too simple, and maybe that stings, and if it stings, maybe it's right. That's in a separate conversation. But if you know I know I have a job to do. Somebody said to me last week, "Why do you still have a coach?" I said, "Absolutely." Because I quoted Ellie. I said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Could I not?" So the minute maybe I will outgrow Ellie one day. Maybe Ellie will say, "Hey, Shmuly, I've got a mentor. Go check him out." I remember the day I sent you a client of mine. It was a thrill. That's great. He needs something more than I can do right now. Go to Ellie. It was wild. What's the goal? Where do I want to get? How fast do I want to get there? What's the surest way to get there? Some people can and will only learn by losing $100,000. Some will say, I'll invest 10, 15, 20 and make 500.
It's so interesting you pointing this out because it's a I tell people all the time that many times people see you and they know they want you and they know it's your thing, but you can't make them come any faster. And so sometimes they need to take a few stops along the way, blow a bunch of money, a bunch of different quick fix solutions that never usually work. And then they're coming to you, but they'll come to you, when they come to you, they'll be a better them. They'll be a better fit. They'll have known already that all those things don't work. And so they'll be they're primed to have results right away versus having to just take all the energy if you do it now. So like if you wait, like 5 years, Shmuly, your price will be 4 times the price than you are today. So you sit and wait, it's almost like fine wine. They'll be a better product. They'll be able to be held faster. You'll be able to, obviously the price will be significantly more. The reward on everyone's side is going to be different if we just let it come versus grabbing it now, quick fix. It's never, there's no such thing as quick fix.
And it's also very relaxing because when I think I need to make it happen, I can't. I can barely control myself, let alone anyone else.
I promised you one more question, right? So here we go. If people want to connect with you and they want to learn more about what you do and be able to get help with the nonprofits or whatever else it is, how do they find you?
LinkedIn is probably the best way to go. Shmuly Rothman, who's connected with me on LinkedIn. PM me, I'll accept a connection, send me a direct message, and pick it up from there. I used to spend a lot of time on websites and branding, and until I give this credit right to Joe Applebaum and say, Shmuly, knock it off. Create a product, create something called proof of concept. Put together something that people want. The branding will come when it comes. I don't have much of a web presence. And LinkedIn's a great place.
I'm going to do an Elio and you. I'm going to ask you for one last question. If you can push it. What was the one of the things that people always talk about in terms of you get a client, they come on board, and they're interested in you and so on and so forth, and you want to go through that closing the client, that big, that pressure point where it's like bring it on board, get them. What has changed for you over there in terms of closing clients faster, getting them on board faster? What do you feel you learned the most? If you could just shed some light on that at one point.
It's another one of those which you asked me the question at the beginning of the conversation about what are some of the big change ups. This is one of them. You used to tell me, run away from the business. I said, Ellie, you're crazy. I knew it, but now you just solidified it. But in right where my brain would go to, okay, he's expressing interest. Let me lock him in right now. I shifted to say, space is limited. People are looking. I'll hold it for 24 hours, and I think you can do very well over here. But time is limited. If you want it, let me know. And otherwise, not otherwise. It's not really a threat. It's just making it very clear. People are looking. I'm gonna be giving available time slots to those who book. It's a first book, first work priority system. And if you want to make it work, let me know. And just click. Not click as in I don't care about you anymore, but as in detach emotionally, stop thinking about it. And it's interesting, 32 hours ago, had a conversation with a client. He sounded so, we're going to do this. Let me think about it for a few days. I said, I can hold the spot and that particular package for you for 24 hours. And I went out to have a great day. Last night on my way to bed, it was 25 hours later, and I had forgotten about it. It wasn't on my mind. And the thought went through me, okay, maybe yeah, maybe no, but definitely not yet at the moment. And I don't have to think about it. Because if it's the right thing for him and he shows up and I'm available, we'll do it. And if it's not and he doesn't, I'll still help him any way I can with whatever general support I offer. And that's just it's just relaxing. But when you're shining your light because you understand that you need to be a better you, when I shine my light because I'm working my system spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, family-wise, client-wise, then I don't have to think about it because it comes. It comes. And to be cliche, just like Ellie says.
I think that's a good way to end. But where are you taking your business? What's the goal? What's the next the 2-3 goal from here? Like, where do you see it going?
The goal is to start focusing more on the high ticket one-on-ones, much higher ticket one-on-ones. Create additional resources, pre-recorded, dynamite stuff, best practices. You show up for it. It's going to. If you're a hungry learner and you're a self-learner, you're going to go great places with it. So keep developing resources for those that are not yet ready to invest or don't want to or can't or whatever it is, and shift to high ticket and have really, really massive impact with broader reaching organizations.
Wow. Shmuly, it's been a year. I think our first conversation we got going was literally a year. Literally almost a year to the day. And people want things quicker today. Want it in 6 weeks. Want it in 3 months. What do you do when someone says they want it in 3 months or 2 months? They want to get there, and they want to get there. Can you get me there? Are you? How do you deal with that? How do you respond to that?
You get me there in 2 months. I'll probably say try Tony Robbins or something. Like go try somebody who just to get into the program is $250,000.
Why did it take so long? Like it feels like it should be happening faster. What do you feel was the process that needed more time? Why?
Have you matured? Oh, serious question. Have you matured?
I think it was time.
Okay. Why did it take so much time? The only person who has what they want when they want it is probably the grandchild of a billionaire who has no concept of stress, balance, thought, life, struggle, finances, responsibility. And I have nothing. If your grandfather's a billionaire and you have billions and you're doing great, God bless you. On the figurative picture, if your life was handed to you on a silver platter, and that's all you know, then go to one of those islands where people live on silver platters and find fulfillment. And if it doesn't work, come back. Life by nature, good things take time. Sometimes it's a day, sometimes a month, sometimes it's a year. Today on the Jewish calendar, we said we mark the day of passing of a lady who her sacrifice for Jewish Torah study took her years and years and years and years, and now the face of Jewish academics has changed forever because she didn't say it's too difficult. Sometimes it's a day, a month, a year. We don't sign up for, anybody who tells you, I'll do this for you in 7 days. Great. It's a good hook. But life takes time and time takes time. And when I give time the time that it takes, and I show up today and I do good, and I fall off tomorrow and I come back today and I do good again, that's the nature of it.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's almost like I think we just wrote the line recently. When you intellectually get it, you have it in the abstract. Like in 7 days, you can have it in the abstract. I can give you a system and it makes perfect sense. But for it to penetrate you and to permeate you and become part of you.
I'll add one more point to it. When I'm not going to say it took me a year to get your program. I'm going to say I'm still finding new benefits to your program.
Right.
But oftentimes I'll find a client who will, and I learned this from Joe. He would stop me every now and then. Shmuly, how long has it been? And what's different? And what's better? It's like, you see how easy it is to get caught up in the, what do I still have to do? And I don't stop to recognize the blessings, the growth, the tremendous beauty that's already in place. So when a client gives me like, oh, this and this just happened. And I'll say, how would you have handled that 6 weeks ago? Say, oh my, sure, I can't do it. It's only been 6 weeks. Sometimes it's 3 days. I had a conversation with a young man, ambitious. It was 3 weeks ago. He said, Shmuly, give me your best 1 hour fundraising intro. I said to him, give me your biggest, ugliest fundraising fear. And he gave it to me. 45 minutes later, he says, I'm shaking in my pants. I said, why? He said, because 27 years of my life, I lived with absolute knowledge that this fear is legit. In 45 minutes of conversation, I'm looking back and saying, it's not that I was wrong. It's that I don't have to be wrong anymore. Now, yeah, it'll take time to unpack that, put it into action, practice it, because that's life. Right?
Thank you, Shmuly.